Okay, Marco Rubio was on Face the Nation, and
Dr. Ehrman himself.
yeah, ear boy. He's got really big ears. Oh man, his ears are so big. We're gonna get back to that. We're gonna just have to have a riff sesh on ears for a bit. But we'll get there. And then Margaret Brennan, that we all knew her name before today. We all of us did, and we all knew how to spell it too. Fuck, that was awful. Yeah, she said that free speech caused the Holocaust.
I thought it was an interesting take.
It's a take. It's a strong take.
Yeah.
It's a strong take. And what we did here was we have kind of the whole thing where you get the context of what was talked about before and after. We can scrub a little bit if it's fucking boring or whatever. But this is the marquee episode, marquee story. So we're going to tell you what's going on with this fucking lunatic lady.
This is an absolute rock bottom moment for the legacy media. According to Face the Nation host Margaret Brennan, the Holocaust happened because of genocidal Nazi regime, which defined totalitarian for the 20th century, allowed too much free speech. This is a crazy exchange. Does media really think the Holocaust was caused by free speech?
He was standing in a country where free speech was weaponized to conduct a genocide.
I was thinking to myself, there's no way, right? There's no way. This has got to be out of context. Where it's like, no, not only is it out of context, but it's even worse.
I want to ask you about what happened in Munich, Germany at the security conference. Vice President Vance gave a speech, and he told U.S. allies that the threat he worries about the most is not Russia. It is not China. He called it the threat from within, and he lectured about what he described as censorship, mainly focusing, though, on including more views from the right. He also met with the leader of a far-right party known as the AfD, which, as you know, is under investigation.
That's actually my aunt. My aunt Alice Weidel.
If you told me that was like your aunt or like some relation, I would believe it.
Auntie Weidel, she got a little tightly wound.
She's got like every cut that like every 7th grader has.
Yeah, she's a far right German nationalist type.
It looks like it.
Yeah, kind of a scary person. Yeah, could be my aunt. Let's go.
And monitoring by German intelligence because of extremism. What did all of this accomplish other than irritating our allies?
Well, why would our allies or anybody be irritated by free speech and by someone giving their opinion? We are, after all, democracies. The Munich Security Conference is largely a conference of...
So, like, these... How far away does he need to be from speakers?
Oh, I'm very far.
Very far.
2 rooms over.
2 rooms over.
Yeah.
Don't ever have a conversation about him too close.
He could get shot twice in the ear and be all right. That guy.
Yeah.
He could get shot twice in the ear with 1 bullet.
And finish the speech afterwards.
Yeah.
I feel like you could snap your finger and blow his eardrum out. It's fucking terrifying.
You could shoot him in the ear and all he would have is just like a piercing.
Yeah.
He would be fine. Okay, big old ears. Yeah.
Democracies in which one of the things that we cherish and value is the ability to speak freely and provide your opinions. And so I think if anyone's angry about his word, they don't have to agree with him, but to be angry about it, I think actually makes his point. I thought it was actually a pretty historic speech, whether you agree with him or not. I think the valid points he's making to Europe is we are concerned that the true values that we share, the values that bind us together with Europe, are things like free speech and democracy and our shared history in winning 2 world wars and defeating Soviet communism and the like. These are the values that we shared in common. And in that Cold War, we fought against things like censorship and oppression and so forth. And when you see backsliding and you raise that.
Do you hear how harshly he breathes in?
Oh, yeah.
It's so that he can say as many words as possible in between breaths. Yeah.
I bet that guy has never said, "Can you repeat that?"
No.
There's no way.
Man, dude's got a lot of diction, and yeah.
I had a girl in high school with that.
with
That's a very valid concern. We can't tell them how to run their countries. He simply expressed in a speech his view of it, which a lot of people frankly share. And I thought he said a lot of things in that speech that needed to be said. And honestly, I don't know why anybody would be upset about it. People are allowed, you don't have to agree with someone's speech. I happen to agree with a lot of what he said, but you don't have to agree with someone's speech to at least appreciate the fact they have a right to say it, and that you should listen to it and see whether those criticisms are valid. I assure you, the United States has come under withering criticism on many occasions from many leaders in Europe, and we don't go around throwing temper tantrums about it.
Well, he was...
Okay. We don't throw temper tantrums? We, the United States of America, don't throw temper tantrums? We throw more temper tantrums than anybody else combined.
I think on occasion we'll temper.
I mean, the entire government is a temper tantrum right now. The entire thing is like, bah, bah, bah. Oh, man, let's get rid of the spending. Let's go.
Standing in a country where free speech was weaponized to conduct a genocide. And he met with the head of a political party that has far-right views and some historic ties to extreme groups. The context of that was changing the tone of it. And you know that the censorship was specifically about the right.
No, I have to disagree with you.
Okay. Do we all know what she just said?
What was she referring to?
What they were talking about just right before that with J.D. Vance and whatever going to the fucking German place. So they're talking about Nazi Germany and how I think she's saying that free speech caused the Third Reich.
Yeah, it was
Wasn't
weaponized.
censorship a huge part of their movement, though?
Yeah, that was propaganda. Censorship was kind of the exact opposite.
Yeah, that's why I was like, what is this?
Yeah, so she must be misspeaking to some degree.
You get that Karen haircut and you just start saying fucking wild
Start
shit.
talking like a DEI.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
This is crazy. And could you kind of tell while she was formulating that sentence that she realized she stepped in it?
Oh, I think there's
She was kind of crunchy.
I'm sure he's going to give it to her.
I think so. He does, or he already disagrees.
Free speech was not used to conduct a genocide. The genocide was conducted by an authoritarian Nazi regime that happened to also be genocidal because they hated Jews and they hated minorities and they hated those that they had a list of people they hated, but primarily the Jews. There was no free speech in Nazi Germany. There was none. There was also no opposition in Nazi Germany. They were a sole and only party that governed that country. So that's not an accurate reflection of history. I also think it's wrong. Again, I go back to the point of his speech.
That is not an accurate reflection of history. Sorry, lady.
Yeah.
Like, what you just said was completely wrong. No, they did it because of these reasons.
What an idiot.
So maybe the ears are a special power.
Oh, yeah. I think they can take in her bullshit and fester it out.
Yeah.
It's like a gill on a fish. It just filters out.
Yeah, I think
they're
so.
ear filters. I bet he can fly, too.
He kind of reminds me of Caesar from Planet of the Apes a little bit. Like if he transitioned all the way to human.
Yeah,
There's
all
a little
the
bit
way.
of that in there.
Like, that's where his super blood came from.
My ears are home.
He's the Bruce Banner.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, the point of his speech was basically that there is an erosion in free speech and intolerance for opposing points of view within Europe, and that's of concern because that is eroding. That's not an erosion of your military capabilities. That's not an erosion of your economic standing. That's an erosion of the actual values that bind us together in this transatlantic union that everybody talks about. And I think allies and friends and partners that have worked together now for 80 years should be able to speak frankly to one another in open forums without being offended, insulted, or upset. And I spoke to foreign ministers from multiple countries throughout Europe. Many of them probably didn't like the speech or didn't agree with it, but they were continuing to engage with us on all sorts of issues that unite us. So again, at the end of the day, I think that people give that is a forum in which you're supposed to be inviting people to give speeches, not basically a chorus where everyone is saying the exact same thing. That's not always going to be the case when it's a collection of democracies where leaders have the right and the privilege to speak their minds in forums such as these.
Mr. Secretary, I'm told that we are out of time. A lot to get through.
We got her.
Yeah.
That's what women do whenever they get got.
Yeah,
We're
no,
out of
that was
time.
good.
Oh, we ran out of that the minutes.
Yeah, I gotta say, Team Rubio after that one.
Yeah, Rubio kind of dunked on her.
Oh yeah, he hit him with that Vince Carter.
It's a
Yeah,
reminder why men shouldn't play in women's sports.
Yeah,
there was a bit of a Dunkelrooski.
that was good.